This one comes to you from Pennsylvania and the Reading Eagle, and the headline states, State Police seized 246 pounds of marijuana from an SUV on Route 222 in Berks. Little caveat, hey, today is my 222nd day out of prison. Just some weird number correlation there, but anyway. The driver insisted, I'm tying everybody into this story now. The driver insisted it was hemp, was the material in the dozen garbage bags that was filled to the vehicle to the roof, and troopers said. The New York man faces drug trafficking charges after state police say they found 246 pounds of marijuana in a luxury SUV that he was driving on Route 222. Hassan T. Dagger, 23, of Astoria, Queens, was committed to Berks County Prison in lieu of a $100,000 bail and awaits a hearing following arraignment Friday night before Judge Alvin B. Robinson in Reading Central Court. State police charged Dagger with possession and intending to deliver marijuana and vehicle code violations. According to probable cause affidavit, a trooper assigned to the state police drug law enforcement division was in an unmarked vehicle monitoring the southbound traffic in Brecknock Township on Friday at about 10 a.m. when he saw a Porsche Cayenne with heavily tinted windows go by. The trooper pulled out, and as he closed in on the SUV, he could see the interior was filled to the roof with garbage bags that would have blocked the driver's view out the side and rear windows. The SUV veered onto the white line several times while the trooper followed it. The trooper turned on his emergency lights and sirens. As he approached the car on the passenger side to talk to Danger, he smelled a strong odor of marijuana, and Danger explained he was transporting hemp in large garbage bags. A K-9 team specialized in narcotics detections was dispatched. The drug detection dog signaled the presence of marijuana in the vehicle. During the search, the troopers found 12 garbage bags containing 246 one-pound bags of suspected marijuana, along with envelopes containing sticker labels of various flavors and THC products. THC is the psychoactive component of marijuana. Danger was taken into custody. One of these bags of suspected marijuana was transported to the state crime lab in Bethlehem for testing. The analysis showed the level of THC was above the 0.3 threshold, so it was identified as marijuana. Man, new angle in the trap. Like, hey, like those pounds that are sitting there back in my trunk, that's hemp. What are you talking about? Like, I don't. So yeah, I mean, it's not funny. Some people are still going to jail behind this. Obviously, $100,000 bail sitting in a jail. Again, going to Dale's rule, don't break multiple laws at one time.
Well, technically, I think they're
like above the windows, covering windows. Like, you are going super hard right there in your brand new Porsche Cayenne. I feel like maybe you could have rented a truck or something. I don't know.
I feel like as long as you have
COA, signing off for Pilot 9 News. What do my correspondents think on this?
I just feel as long as you don't have COAs in the car with it to match those bags, then you'd be totally fine, and that's a legitimate thing to tell law enforcement in regards to, because technically, and Dr. Mark, you can attest to this, is that the canines for drug dogs, they're trained to smell terpenes, and the same terpenes that are in hemp are in cannabis, and therefore, under the Controlled Substances Act, it's all defined as cannabis sativa L. And technically, since none of that cannabis has been burned, which would mean that none of it had been decarboxylated, therefore, technically, all that THC would be classified as THCA, making it legal under the Farm Bill.
And the judge would say, "Get the fuck out of my courtroom."
Hold on. What's that, Mark?
The one guy they nailed, there's 100 or 200 getting through. And this is basically how product is getting to New York dispensaries. This guy was on his way to a New York dispensary. That's where that weed was going to be. Less than a day. Because if you look at Reading, Pennsylvania, look at New York City, he was less than a day from where he was going to be. That stuff was going to be in a dispensary shelf. This is a momentary disruption of the trapped supply chain that's feeding the New York market right now. That's all this is.
Look at that drug mapping by Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark, do you think that's a realistic legal defense?
No.
I didn't ask the lawyer. I'm asking Dr. Mark from a scientific perspective.
Oh,
Technically,
I'm not a lawyer.
Do not give bad advice.
technically, it's all THCA if it hasn't been decarboxylated, right, Dr. Mark?
But I think what we can do is we can go back to our discussion from last Friday where precedent set it by my friend Patrick Nightingale in Pittsburgh is that the smell of cannabis is not probable cause to search the vehicle and try to get out the search as being illegal. Dale, is there any traction on something like that?
That there would be, okay? Because you had probable cause to stop for a traffic violation. If you smell weed, that's not probable cause to do a search of the vehicle. I think they have some arguments there. A dog alerting. We had to remove all the dogs from California because if it's legal to have weed in your car and they alert in your car, all the searches get thrown out. So there's traction for that. But he's sitting in jail under $100,000 bond. And we all know what he was doing, wink, wink, nod, nod, but it's to get into a court and get them to dismiss this or to knock these charges down. I think I'd attack the search of the vehicle. Instead, I don't think they had a probable cause to do the search, but he'll be doing that from jail, paying for the lawyer.
What about, Dale, what about plain sight clause?
If it's in a bag, how do you know what's in it?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, how do you know How do you know it's not hemp?
You don't tell it's tested.
Exactly, because it all looks the same. It all looks and smells the same too, for that matter, because it's all the same terps.